Well, hello, I'm Alex, and today I've got a quick and easy creativity warm-up for you. Use this to give your brain a little reset, to try something new or different, or just to get out of a funk. You know how I'm always saying how simple it is to spend a few minutes a day in creative play? Well, I'm sure a lot of you are like, "Oh, that's easy for you to say, you're an artist." So, I'm making these videos for you to take tiny play breaks with me. This is your creativity timeout, baby. Just jump in and mess around with whatever supplies you've got on hand. No worries, I'm keeping this no fuss fabulous, easy peasy. Go ahead, check it out. Alrighty, today we're going to do a creativity warm-up where we're making marks. And I'm just going to show you a very simple way to go about this. I actually just have a Sharpie and a highlighter that I like. And that's all we need for today. Just use 2 markers. You can do this in pencil. You can do this in your sketchbook. I'm going to use just a regular sheet of white paper today. And the first thing we're going to do is make a grid. So just go along your paper and create a big box that you can put your grid inside, like that. And then do like the middle in each direction, and then think about how big you want that space to be. Kind of makes sense to me to go like this, and so now I have the choice to make these bigger or smaller. So I'm gonna try to keep it square, which means I can fit 2 lines in each half. Okay, so I'm gonna call that done, and I'm gonna close my marker. This is a permanent marker, which means if I go over it with this marker or maybe some of these colors I have here, it's not gonna smear. And what do we mean by making marks? Well, this is as simple as drawing stripes. So what you get to do is you get to fill each square, and I love doing this. So your stripes can go in any direction, and they can go diagonally. I'm going to see if I can fill all these with different kinds of marks, and try not to repeat the stripes. But go ahead, if you wanted to, you could do the first row of just how many different ways can you make stripes. So vertically, horizontally, diagonally. I consider a zigzag, it's like a stripe, but I consider it its own thing. So I'm going to do a zigzag here. The next thing you might think of similar to that could be a wave. So I love using highlighters because they have the chisel point, and it lets me play around a little bit with thickness. Obviously, a very simple thing to do is just to go like that, like little bits, or you could think of it as raindrops, just little bits of little tiny rocks, whatever you want to think about it. Let's see, what else could we do? You can start in the center and go around and do concentric circles. So this is not that different from the waves. It's circular, it's organic, going round and round and round. You can do loops and just fill the space. Okay, so we did 1 row. Another thing I like to do is going back to kind of combining these 2 would be to do arcs. So similar to stripes, but now there's a curve to all of them. Again, you could do the curves This is horizontal, vertical, diagonal. Just have fun with it, and you don't need to do them in order at all. It might be fun to pick a square here and here and just see how it ends up. Similar to circles would be spirals, right? So you don't need to lift your pen at any point. You just go around and around till it's full. I also love, similar to this shape, I'm going to pick a bigger box since my boxes aren't equal, is to do the arc but in both directions and then to overlap. So I'm basically doing this like I shape, overlapping and overlapping like that. I kind of like that a lot. Similar to starting in the center would be to do a circle in the center and to make a sun, just bringing those lines from the circle to the edges of the square. Of course, you could make more circles going round and round if you wanted. Another thing to do would be to fill the square with bubble-like circles. Another thing you could do would be, let's see, star. So this is sort of star-like. Well, what if we just make stars and fill the space with stars? Now, mark making is a lot of fun. It just gets you playing very quickly. It can also help you with the project because maybe you start experimenting. Now, usually when it helps you with the project is because you're being even looser with the materials you're using, and there's a lot of experimentation and a lot of surprise, and that's when you discover stuff. So I'm making two videos. This is the one in the grid, and the other one I'll show you a few ways to be really loose. Let's just keep going here. Something I totally forgot about was to actually do stripes in both directions in the same box so that you get hatching, obviously. You can also do a diagonal and then you go up and over. So I've got stripes, vertical and horizontal stripes, but they're being divided by the diagonal. It kind of looks like a leaf shape, like what I like to do with a leaf. Let's see, why don't we just do that? Maybe we just have 1.5 leaves here, lines down the middle, out on the one side, and out on the other side, like that. Okay, what else can we do? Well, we could do small spirals. So filling the space with spirals and letting the spirals overlap is a fun way to experiment. We could go back to this shape here and, well, let's just do a V, which is kind of like between the zigzag and this shape, but let's just start with the V like this. So it's like a zig. It's not a total zigzag because we're not coming back down. And now we're going to go in and add some lines and do that. So obviously you could do that to anywhere where you have repeating lines. You could go in and add dots or lines. So let's do one with dots. So let's do one that let's see, that starts here with arcs, and let's see what happens if we just add some dots and we skip every other one and fill one row with dots. So that's another way you can add. You could go crazy and do the hatching in all different directions and not leave anything white. That's fun to do too. I'm going to do another one of these, but thinner. So I want to little bit more space. So now I'm doing hatch marks, but what I'm going to do is wherever they cross, I'm going to draw a circle. And in theory, you would draw half circles here at the edges and fill that. And even the little corners will get a quarter. So that's an interesting thing to do. So it starts going into like pattern play. So from mark making to pattern play, it's the same thing really. It just kind of depends on what your intention is for what you're doing. Are you just warming up your hand, or are you actually trying to come up with some interesting patterns for a background or something? One of my favorite things to do is a very organic shape where I start at one corner and finish at the other corner and just keep making more waves. It's one of my favorites because it like gets darker in the corners as it starts to have a three-dimensional quality. It's easier to see if you did it on a bigger paper. We could also just repeat shapes like triangles. So think of all the shapes you know, all the basic shapes: squares, circles, triangles, half circles, pentagons. I don't know, go crazy. I love doing drops, so I will do one with drops. Now that I've done the triangles, it reminded me I actually love doing drops. If I did them slower, maybe they would look more like drops, but I like this a lot. And one that has a ton of play is like scallop shapes. So you do one row, and then in the next row you come down to the tops of the scallops. That's one way to do it. So I'm being purposeful about where I'm placing the scallop just because I like the way that ends up looking. But you could go nuts and just not even try to be purposeful and just fill the whole area with really small scallops. I'm going to do that now just to finish off here. So the overlapping makes it a little bit darker, gives it more texture. So there. So that was one go at a grid with one color. Imagine if you did more than one color. If the squares were bigger, if the squares were smaller, it's really endless what you can do with this. Okay, I hope you had fun taking this tiny play break with me. Be honest, it was super easy. Because you know what? When it comes to your creativity, it's never about what you're making. It's about how you feel while making it, right? I've got lots more videos for you here on my YouTube channel, so subscribe, stay tuned, and play, play, play. Come back and gift yourself a daily dose of make stuff feel good energy. Thank you so much for being here. Sparkle on.